Mercy, you finally arrived. Wipe the dust from your shoes and come in, sugar. Your presence will be such a tonic for poor, dear Mrs. Beaumont. She's been fanning herself by the window in a state of absolute agitation awaiting you. Now, if y'all can find it in your hearts to indulge us for one fleeting afternoon, we are going to make a brave pretense of having actually paid attention in those drafty schoolrooms of our youth. We are going to cast our eyes upon some literature. Oh, honey, don't recoil like a wilted gardenia. We had that very same visceral reaction, I assure you. But please, don't fret. This won't be some dreary, moth-eaten fourth-grade book report, and it most certainly is not that wretched English 101 paper you ghost wrote for that adorably dull fraternity boy, the one with the jawline of a god and the intellect of a damp brick.
In the shadows of the South, music is never merely a matter of meter or rhyme. It is a blood pulse, a haunting choir rising from the red clay and the stagnant swamp water. These melodies are our true inheritance, carrying the weight of a century's grief and glory in the time it takes for a tallow candle to flicker and die. Within the span of a few desperate minutes, a song unearths the same ghosts that Capote, Flagg, and Mitchell spent hundreds of ink-stained pages trying to exorcise. The secrets they buried in chapters of typeset prose, the family rot, the hidden sins, and the fierce, jagged beauty of our land are all laid bare in the vibration of a single steel string. Megan Thee Stallion's body helps the region reckon with its history by proving that the Southern voice is no longer just lonesome and lost. It is loud, proud, and unapologetically present. It is a text that asserts, I am here, I am large, and I contain multitudes. Deep in the concrete marrow of the Houston pavement, where the Third Ward sprawls like a restless spirit under the wide Texas sky, there lived a woman who did not ask for permission to exist. She was called Thee Stallion, a name that carried the weight of the earth and the fire of the sun. You must understand, in our way of telling, a name is not merely a sound, it is a prophecy. To be a stallion is to be a creature of stature, a monument of flesh and bone that refuses to be broken or bridled by the small-minded ghosts of the past. The story begins in the year of our Lord 2020, a season of great silence for the world, yet Megan Pete found the rhythm that had been sleeping in the red clay. She sat with the architect, a man they called Lil Jew, and together they conjured a vibration. It was not the soft weeping of a pedal steel guitar, but a sharp, repetitive synth stab, a heartbeat of the New South, insistent as a drum heard across a valley. This was the body, a manifesto spoken in the first person, a song of myself for a woman who has finally inherited her own skin. Listen to the rhythm of her tongue, body-addy-addy-addy. It is the sound of the river hitting the stones. It is the pulse of the dance that began before the ships ever arrived. It is a masterclass in the old ways of repetition, a hypnotic meter that demands the listener acknowledge the physical truth of the narrator. She speaks with a voice refined as a Charleston afternoon, but sharp as a Houston switchblade. She tells us of Dior and of curves, replacing the tired imagery of Spanish moss and crumbling porches with the baddie aesthetic, a modern luxury that is its own kind of armor. For too long, the stories of this land were told through the moonlight and magnolias of those who lived in the big house, or the tragic broken figures of the rural decay. But Megan, she rejects the grotesque of the victim. She takes the black female body, once a site of labor, a thing owned by the ledger and the whip, and she reclaims it as a site of economic power and exclusive pleasure. She is not a Jezebel being acted upon by the world. She is the actor, the sun around which the planets of the city revolve. She subverts the tragic trope with a sexuality that is triumphant, loud, and unapologetically present. The South, she describes, is no longer a frontier of ranches and lonesome pines. It is the urban South, a sprawling metropolis where the Texas Bama spirit thrives in the bass that rattles the windows of the passing cars. There is a foodway here, a metaphorical feast, where thick and snack define a new geography of the self. She navigates the color line by centering a joy so radiant it eclipses the old narratives of the old South. In the end, we see that she is large. She contains multitudes. She has shifted the imagined South away from the rot of the past and toward the vibrant black Mecca of the Sun Belt. This body is a literary monument, a hymn of empowerment that echoes through the streets of Houston and the gardens of the Low Country alike. It is a reckoning. It is an assertion that the Southern voice is no longer lost in the woods, weeping for what was. It is standing in the light, draped in Dior, telling the world that she is here, she is hers, and she shall not be moved.
Now don't stand there looking at me with those wide, wounded eyes, honey. I can't bear a scene when the humidity's this high. If you're looking for that melody, that sweet, aching little tune we just talked about, it's waiting for you down in the description. It's tucked away like a love letter you weren't supposed to find, but there it is, plain as the moon over the delta. And listen to me, sugar, don't be cruel. Reach out your hand and tap that like icon, and for heaven's sake, subscribe to us. A soul needs a little attention to keep from fading away into the wallpaper, and we've always depended on the kindness of strangers like you.